Hey everyone, Lewis aka Spider-Man 991 here with continuing my issue-by-issue review of the Batman Flash crossover known as The Button, with part 2 taking place in Flash number 21. Here's the brief summary of what happens. The issue opens up with Johnny Thunder still trying to call his Thunderbolt genie Sayu to help him find the Justice Society, but of course doesn't work, and he's detained by orderlies because he's old and living in a mental hospital. Then we cut back to the Batcave, where the Flash has set up a crime scene in the Batcave for the murder of Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash. And of course, while Flash is reviewing the crime scene, going over evidence, he also discusses it with Batman, who's recovering from his injuries from the fight he had with Reverse Flash last issue. So after Flash and Batman discuss the evidence, Flash gets an idea, and he decides to use the cosmic treadmill in order to trace the source of the radiation he found on the button, which was also found on Thawne's corpse, to figure out its location. And of course, Batman eventually figures out that Barry knows this, and he shows up and decides to join Flash since they started this case together, so they're going to finish it together. And while Flash is powering up the treadmill to get for him and Batman to travel, they start going through what the time stream, and while they go through, they start to see scenes from the Justice League Silver Age history, such as the Justice League's founding, and also some various scenes from another scene involving the Secret Society of Supervillains, and another one from Crisis on Infinite Earths. And eventually, though, there's an energy rupture in the time stream that causes the two heroes to wind up in the Flashpoint reality, where they meet Thomas Wayne, who in that reality is Batman. And that's where the issue ends. So, much like the first part, which was in Batman number 21, this issue opens up with another scene that ties into what we saw in the Rebirth one-shot. The first one, the Batman issue, was Saturn Girl in Arkham, and this one we get to see Johnny Thunder in an old folks' home, which is tied into the missing JSA, just like how Saturn Girl is tied into the missing Legion. So I'm sensing some sort of a pattern here. I think as we go through this story arc, maybe the opening scenes are probably each going to focus on a plot thread that was set up in the Rebirth one-shot that we might get a little bit further to in this story arc, just to kind of remind the reader what major plots are going to come out of the whole Rebirth event. So there is another reference to the Justice Society. The Flash says that when Waller returned and he experienced visions, one vision he did see was the helmet of Mercury, which if you probably know this, but it's also the helmet worn by Jay Garrick, the Golden Age Reverse Flash and founding member of the Justice Society. And of course, if you've already seen the cover and the solicitations for the next issue of Flash, issue number 22, you know that we're probably going to be seeing Jay Garrick return in that issue. We're getting that nice little setup, and that's good because I think the major change in this story arc will probably be the return of Jay Garrick, and of course we didn't get any references to Jay Garrick in the first part of the story arc, which took place in Batman, because the Batman issue was actually way more focused on Watchmen, and this one is actually more focused on Rebirth itself. So there's kind of a nice little balance between the two titles for this story arc, with the Watchmen stuff being focused on Batman and the Rebirth stuff being focused on Flash, which is good. Plot-wise, though, when Batman and Flash go through all the visions while traveling the time stream, Batman at first suspects they're alternate realities, but Flash says, no, I think these actually did happen to us. I think this is where we're now reaching a point where what was in continuity and what wasn't is now going to be very confusing to readers, because Wally told Barry when he came back that 10 years were taken out of the DCU timeline. And of course, and this is a problem because in Superman Reborn, we didn't actually get a clear vision about what was happening, but fortunately, the preceding issues of Action Comics did sort of had Superman kind of going through his history to make sure that he understands what's going on, and we kind of got a sort of clearer, abridged version about the Superman timeline, which to help make it a good combination of post-crisis and New 52 factors, but right now, I think trying to bring stuff from the pre-crisis continuity back into the main continuity might be a little difficult to explain. Hopefully, though, it doesn't get too confusing. On a more positive note for this issue, I did love the way Barry had the crime scene set up in the Batcave. I don't think we ever get to see. Well, we know Barry's the CSI, but we never really get to see him do this stuff as the Flash. And I thought having the Batcave set up like a crime scene and Barry going through everything was really fun and really cool to see. And I think that was definitely a good opening page for this issue. Overall, though, the story arc is still ramping up to be very interesting. I think I really hope that we don't have any problems with continuity going forward in this story arc. I thought everything was well written. My theory is that the Flashpoint reality could be some sort of a buffer Dr. Manhattan has put between himself and where the heroes in the main DCU are. Of course, that's my theory about how or why Flashpoint why we're revisiting Flashpoint. Overall, it was a good Flash number 21, very good issue. The Button crossover, it's very interesting. It's still very mysterious. It leaves the reader with some questions that hopefully some will get answered, but maybe not everything. Because if DC is going to finally have Dr. Manhattan show up, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a really huge event that will probably have its own series. So yeah, thanks again for watching. If you haven't seen it, check out my review for the first part of the story arc taking place in Batman number 21, and check out my issue-by-issue review of Superman Reborn, which I should put a link to the playlist in here. Thank you again for watching. Remember to stay subscribed and notified to know when I'm posting a new video. I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.